I feel like my camera is going to die very quickly, so let's just jump right in. Hello and welcome. My name is Ansu. If you're new here, consider subscribing down below. Today, I wanted to sit down and chat to you guys about some romance books, because it is the month of romance, and I think it's very fitting to talk about a bunch of romances. And I had to go through my entire Goodreads list to see like what I've read. And I got a bunch of books that I wanted to talk to you about. So let's just dive right in. I'm going to preface this by saying this is not going to be just solely romance books, but it could be like fantasy mixed in with some romance, things like that. The first one I'm going to go for is actually Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. This one is the fourth book in the Bridgerton series. This is Colin's story. If you didn't know, Colin's story is coming out as a TV show very soon, and I'm so excited. He was my favorite Bridgerton growing up. I literally read his story when I was like 12. Do not recommend reading it that early, but it was super fun, very cute. It's a historical romance if you didn't know, and it just follows around these high-class English families, and it's adorable. I think it was very cute. I love their romance, and I think you should really read it. It's more like a friends, like childhood friends to lovers situation. It's like a kind of a wallflower girls story, and I thought it was very adorable. That it completely has a special place in my heart, and I absolutely adore that story. So 100% recommend that. The next one I want to talk about is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the third book of the Brown Sisters trilogy. And this one is my favorite. I absolutely loved this one. It revolves around this young black woman who is very carefree. She's not really settled in anything that she does. She has like pink hair. She's a weirdo pretty much. And she kind of falls in love with this like really straightforward man who follows the rules by the book. I think he's also a little autistic. He's on the spectrum, and they kind of have this romance going on. She's working for him in his like restaurant hotel place, and it's so sweet. It's so cute. I love the story so much. If you haven't read this, definitely pick this up. You don't necessarily have to read every single book in the series, but it would be preferable if you knew about all the other sisters as well. It has a little bit of an overlap. It's very minute and probably unnoticeable. It's just a good series overall. This is just my absolute favorite one. Another one I really want to give a shout out to was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one is typically not what I would call a romance in my books. Like, it is a romance, 100%. It's a contemporary romance. But basically there's this woman whose husband goes on this helicopter escapade, and his helicopter goes missing. They don't know what happened to him, and he's pronounced dead. Obviously, this woman is absolutely devastated, and Emma, our main character, decides to like move on with her life, obviously, because this man is dead now. And she finally moves on and is engaged now. But lo and behold, her ex-husband, or the person who she assumed was dead, is not dead. He actually comes back, and she has to like figure out who she wants to be with, who is her true love, and it's so sweet. It's like such a fucked up situation. You don't know what she's gonna do, and it's so interesting to see how she kind of deals with it, and I absolutely freaking love this book. It's very entertaining. I really enjoyed this personally. I think you can give it like 4 stars, but personally really enjoyed it. It's very impossible to believe, but honestly, like, what would you do in that situation, right? It's so messed up, but I absolutely adored it. I would highly recommend picking that one up. My favorite romance book that I've read in a very long time is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Anything that Lynn Painter writes, essentially, I've really enjoyed, but this one is my favorite, and it is a YA romance. So there's no like spicy scenes if that's something that you're into. Obviously, it's YA. Like, if you are looking for spicy scenes in a YA romance, girl, there's something wrong with you. But this is an adorable story about a boy and a girl who are kind of like arch enemies, but they come into this understanding. She wants to get together with her crush, and she expects her enemy to help her to get with him. And essentially, they come to terms that she's going to give up the parking spot they're fighting over to her enemy, and that's how this whole story goes forward. Obviously, it's an enemies to lovers situation. It is so good. There's also this talk about grief because your mother is dead, and I think it was just handled so beautifully, and the process of her grieving and going through that whole motion is so incredible and heart-touching. I absolutely love this book so much. I would recommend this to my deathbed because it's just too good to miss out on. I think this is so great. If you haven't read it, definitely pick it up. I think it's fantastic. I think we might wrap this up real quick. One of my absolute favorite romances is, of course, from A Court of Mist and Fury. If you didn't know, this is more like supposed to be a new adult fantasy, but it's almost like an adult fantasy. But there's a bunch of fairies in this world who kind of abducts a human girl into their fairy land, and she kind of starts living there. She gets to understand the consequences, the kingdom, like everything in that world, and she kind of gets attuned to all of those situations. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of romance, and this gets very spicy, obviously, and I personally love this romance so much. I will die on that hill. This is just too good to pass on. I think everyone has talked about this, but I still really wanted to talk about it because I loved it. You know the book that absolutely destroyed me though? This fucking book, The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I don't care if you don't read the rest of the Throne of Glass series. This is something that you should read. If you're into like the Assassin's vibe, this is perfect. I am really freaking disappointed that Sarah J. Maas completely switched Throne of Glass into the ACOTAR world. I'm very disappointed by that because the Assassin's world was so intriguing. And this really got me out of my reading slump. There is this particular romance in here that destroyed me. This took me out of a reading slump, but also put me in a reading slump. But it was that good. I personally really loved it, and I think this is the one book that you really should pick up. And that romance is just, it's kind of like a friends to lovers situation as well. They're colleagues as assassins, and it's their story. Oh, this is really good. Loved it. So highly recommend. Those are all the books that I wanted to talk about in this video. If there's some romances that touched your heart, made you be all gooey, do let a girl know, because that's obviously something that I would love to read. I think that's it, honestly. Like, those are the books that were sticking out to me when I was going through my Goodreads list, but let me know down below some of your favorite romances as well. I would love to know. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Ansu. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified every single time I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you all next time with another one. Until then, I'll talk to you in the comments. That was the quickest video I've ever filmed. I'm so proud of myself, you know? I didn't even fumble with words. Like, who is she? Bye!